welcome everyone on the call. A very warm welcome to everyone. Thanks for joining in. This Detox with Deep Talks initiative is taken, by Blossoms, in which, as I mentioned, we want to connect entrepreneurs with aspiring entrepreneurs and students. So basically, in this world of social media, where everyone like posts their success stories, their achievements, all their good times. It's equally important to embrace our failures and our struggles. And using this initiative, we want to make people realize that failure is not the opposite of success, but it is a part of success, right? And today, we have a very special guest, with us, Mr. Benjamin Wong.
To brief you more about, thank you, Siddharth. So I'll move forward briefing about Mr. Benjamin. So Mr. Benjamin is the CEO and co-founder of Kinobi, is on a mission to build a high enterprise value companies that will change the life of fellow people in Asia. Kinobi is a digital career accelerator for your dream career. So we are happy to have you here to share your inspiring story. Maybe you can share more about Kinobi and your journey with us.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Aditya. Thanks, Siddharth. So thanks for having me here. The small group, and I'm going to be as candid as I can.
Yep.
So I hope that just ask any questions if you want. Anything, please feel free. I'm a very casual person. No airs around me. Yeah. So my team and I, we started Kinobi in May. What we realized was that people were trying to find out what they want to do in life, right? Everyone has their talents, but then do you actually really know what your talents are, and can you match your talents with the dream career that you want? We found that is something that we can actually bring to people because we faced that question before. How can we light up the road for the next generation? And that's how we came up with this. How we have impacted people along the way is that we have around 3,000 plus registered users, we have around 100 users on the platform. And I think what has been amazing is that we have placed around 20 people to different kind of jobs like Goldman Sachs, Google, Amazon, web services, and so on. And I think if you ask them what is Kinobi means to them, I think the most important part that they'll say is that, hey, apart from getting the job, getting the pay, getting these things, it's about finding your purpose in life. And I think that's really important because we spend a lot of time at our jobs, right? So if you look to your entire life, when you start your job at 20 years of age and maybe you retire at 60, it's 40 years, right? You spend 40 years and most of the 9 to 5 at your job. So that's very important. And if you are not happy at where you are, you're going to hate it, right, for 40 years of your life, which is practically half your life. So I think that is the most important thing that I think people around and all users have really said that we help them.
Yeah, I think I completely agree with this point. Especially we the students, we're trying to figure out our passion. We're trying to figure out what we love, and like I've heard so many stories, from my seniors, from my super seniors. They say that they don't that their jobs suck, and they don't like it, but they do it because it's kind of a compulsion. So how so what do you think, Benjamin, that can help students, especially like graduating students, to find their passion and to be happy at what they're doing?
I would say that the most important thing that you want to find out is your why, right? So why is it that you are actually doing certain things? A framework that I like to use, and a framework that we use in Kinobi, is Ikigai, right? So Ikigai is like the confluence of, let's say, your passion, career, who you are, what you like, right? And I think what's most important about that is that you want to find that epicenter where you actually can say that, hey, I'm not wasting my time. I'm optimizing all these other factors and saying that this is something I'm satisfied with, this is something I enjoy. And I think once you find that, that's a good framework to use to really decipher for yourself that this is exactly where I need to be. And you might be seeing and looking at other people like, well, why is this person earning more than me? Why is this person actually in a better school or a better location, or he has a better job, he has better spouse or better girlfriend, better boyfriend, right? Like you're comparing all these sort of things. But then when you have the Ikigai framework, you can say that, hey, I'm exactly where I am and where I needed to be right now. And if I was in a different place, I would not be as happy as I would be. So I think that's a good way to actually start.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, I remember, a couple of years back, I actually read this book, Ikigai, and that they really, changed my mindset, up to a certain extent about, just how important it is, to see the bigger picture. So I think, so everyone on the call and everyone, watching this video, I guess you guys can also read the book, Ikigai.
Awesome.
So your company Kinobi, right? So we saw on your LinkedIn profile that you guys started around earlier part of this year, if I'm not wrong.
Yep, in May.
In May, right? So maybe you can share more about your journey with Kinobi. That what, like, were you working before Kinobi? Were you working full time before Kinobi?
Oh, okay, sure. So before Kinobi was started, I was in investments. So I started my career understanding and knowing very well that I really wanted to do investments because it allowed me to have the full latitude to understand and make decisions to say that, hey, let's try this out and let's put the money where the mouth is, right? To really say that if this is something, a trend that I believe in, there's a company I believe in, why not let's invest? Let's put the money where the mouth is and see where it grows. So that's where I really like the fast-paced culture. I like how you actually look at various things, and it's a very numerical form to it. Like it's no bullshit, right? It either works or it doesn't work, right? Like if it doesn't work, there's a behavioral element to it, but you want to find out why, right? So these things excited me, and I think what's more important about that is that it allowed you to have both the intellectual side in terms of numbers, but also have that emotional kind of side with people, because you had to convince people that, hey, these are things that actually work. And sometimes it's about numbers, right? But then at the same time, it's also about relationships, because you have to tell the person that, hey, like there are things within this product that you trust me on, and you might not know everything, but then the fact that I am the advisor is someone that you should trust. So building that and having that kind of like emotional aspect of things also excited me. So I think on both sides, this was the reason why I was excited to go investments, and that was my last role before I started Kinobi. I was at Alvarium, which is a family office. It allowed me to play both sides to the best of abilities. So I started off the Singapore office here in Alvarium. Had to do both the client management side, which is more business development, and I had to do the investments bit, which is building financial models, defending them in front of an investment committee, telling people why they should invest on both sides. Like I need to tell the investment committee that this is good, and I tell the client that after the investment committee already says it's good, I need to tell the client that, hey, this is also very good, right? So like having to combine both the financial, numerical plus the emotional side was very exciting, and that is in summary of what I did before I started Kinobi.
And like because we all know, like working in a corporate, working, like having a full-time job, there is always a security. But when you talk about entrepreneurship, having your own startup, that security is no more. That dopamine boost every month, there's no more. So how do you, like, how was the transition from a full-time job to a startup?
I think one is that it really depends on what mindset you have, right? I'm quite a risk taker myself. It's just my personality. So I have two opinions for this. The first is that you want to ask yourself what you're optimizing for, right? If you're optimizing for pay, and there are a few ways to go about it. You can have a very short-term view and say that, hey, I'm getting a cash flow every month, and because of that, I'm getting security. But at the same time, I think that if you actually optimize for other things in life, which is maybe satisfaction. So if you optimize satisfaction, you can either get satisfaction from getting a cash flow, right? Monthly cash flow, or you can optimize it for moonshots, where essentially what you're doing is that you know that this entire thing is going to boom, right? Or this idea is going to work out.
Yeah.
Why not put money where the mouth is and do that? And essentially, that's what a lot of people are doing in life, right? People, and I would change the perspective, is that everyone is actually doing moonshot in life. when you are working in a job, you are placing your entire moonshot that you're going to make a
On the
career out
top.
of it,
Yeah.
and you're going to climb the career ladder, right? Or else why do it? Or maybe it could be that you want to have a family, and therefore, because of that, you want a more stable job. Therefore, you need a monthly cash flow. So it depends on what you optimize. So that's the first thing that I would actually look at. It depends on what you want to optimize, and even after you look at what you want to optimize, what is your personality trait that actually gets you there? Um, not everyone is going to be entrepreneur. Not everyone has that DNA. I feel. I wouldn't call it DNA completely because I feel that personalities can change over time. But you can't take a person who's risk averse and ask him to be an entrepreneur totally, right? He needs to have this understanding that he's risk averse, could be risk averse, but then he has this understanding that I'm here taking a risk, and the other opportunity cost of me not taking this risk is much worse. And so with that also still institutes and says that the person also has a bit of risk-taking personality, which cannot be. I don't think it's inborn, it's not inbred, but there's a bit of training and a bit of culturing that's
like a process.
Yeah. The second perspective here is that you would have a lot of people saying that you shouldn't quit a job, you should just do, and I mean Asian mindset, right? All Asian. Yeah, like why quit a job? Why just get a normal job, just go with the flow, right? And with that perspective, it is that you have to get monthly cash flow, and that's where you shouldn't jump into entrepreneurship if you don't have like cash flows that actually support you. Like for example, you don't have like 1 year, 2 years of cash flow that supports you across the time. You shouldn't do it because I mean at the end of the day, especially if you have a family to feed, that's important. That these are things that are important. But then again, my belief in life is that if you want to do great things, you need to sacrifice things, right? You can't just be in two boats at once. You need to sacrifice some stuff, and you must be comfortable as an entrepreneur sacrificing almost everything, and knowing that if you're really resourceful, you can always earn money at the end of the day. So what I like to tell myself is that even if Kinobi fails, of course touch wood, it doesn't fail, right? But then if it fails, I know that I can run any idea of the same team. We can build some great stuff together as well, and people will pay for it. Yeah. So as long as I have 2 legs, I have 2 hands, I can even wash the dishes. But it really depends on what is your hunger at the end of the day, right? If you really want to do something, you'll get it done.
Yeah, I think this is very common. The point you mentioned about sacrifice. So I think that's very important for entrepreneurship. Because I've like any entrepreneur I've met, they have said me the same thing. That you should be ready, to sacrifice. I think that's a great point. Yeah.
So maybe moving forward, maybe you mentioned a little bit about failures, and so maybe can you talk about the failures you faced in your past 8 to 9 months? Anything which is always said that failure is a stepping stone to success, right? So what is the failure you faced initially?
Okay. I think honestly that's a great question. What has Kinobi failed in, right? I think what we failed in, definitely one thing is at the start we failed to really build a membership platform. It was something which I wanted to do in June and July, but I just didn't do it because I thought, let's focus on the paid users, right? But then what I forgot about is that hey, if you're the free kind of people, that's a much warmer lead as compared to just trying to reach out to more people along the way. There's one thing I would have done differently if I could turn back the clock. Second failure, if I would actually say, is that I would follow up with more with my users and really show more user love, right? Yeah. So recently we onboarded one of our advisors from McDonald's, and one thing that I really like with McDonald's is the Happy Meal, right? As a kid, what you always wanted to have was a Happy Meal from McDonald's. Yeah, the branding was so good that every kid wanted it. Like if a kid without a Happy Meal, people thought you're retarded or something like that. Why don't you want to have a Happy Meal? You just want to have that toy, right? You want to show it to your friends. You want to tell your friends that, hey, I got this toy. It's like this. Although this toy costs 10 cents to manufacture, and they sell it to you for $2, you just wanted to buy it. Yeah, I mean, that's so just go so good at branding and showing user love, right? So that's something which I would I would focus a lot more on. It's something we're trying to focus on more and more. The third failure that Kinobi has is that we sort of try to I guess I don't think it's a failure in some ways, but then yeah, like some people think it's a failure, but I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. Right? Like people always say that, like, well, you know, we cannot do B2B and B2C at the same time. Yeah, but to me, I beg to differ. I think that we can do both at the same time. It might take more effort because, like, my mantra here is that, you know, B2B, when companies choose us, it makes the consumers and the users choose us even more. Right. So I think that's what we believe in as a platform. And yeah, although we get like a lot of feedback that, hey, you know, you should just focus on one. I don't know, you know, like I could I really don't know, you know, like it seems to be working, but then yeah, who knows, right? Like this is the path we chose, and similarly as your career path, right? Like nobody, like you can have all the people telling you what to do, but then yeah, if you thought that's the best way and you already have logical reasons why you think it's the best way, like you should just go and do it.
Yeah.
So maybe we like moving forward, we just like we're wondering, like most of the students community, right? They feel that whatever they learn in university or so or in their schooling. So like 50% of the students, like based on our research, 50% of the students feel that whatever they learn in school or university is not applied in the real world. So like what do you think most helped you in your like learn from SMU or your previous schooling, helped you in your real world, and what was the major skills which helped you survive or go through the investments as well as helping you in the entrepreneurship journey?
Right. I actually spoke about this in a podcast with the Financial Coconut, and I spoke very extensively on it. I spoke about 1 hour on it, so I can't distill everything in short time. You can just check it out. I can send you the link if you want. But in short, what I think that that can be taken away from school is networks. Yeah, you can throw away everything else, but networks is something you can't throw away. Because what school has done is to socially engineer a group of people who are like-minded slash of a certain caliber into the same kind of place, and then put them all together in one room, and that's how you make friends, right? But of course, that's where the university is being upturned and overturned by many organizations out there. You have like clans in Singapore. You have these kind of like organizations, clubs, where networking clubs that you get to meet people, and of course, like that's where you actually learn more than what you actually have in university. But then the university still serves to be a beacon of truth and a marker in some ways to state that you are of a certain caliber. And unfortunately, to me, that's the only measure of the university. It's a signal. It's like a flare, a signal that tells people they are good, and you remain that way. Yeah, it's just a very expensive signal.
Yeah, in fact, I read this quote, which states that network is equal to net worth. So I think, very nicely, put by, Benjamin. So, moving forward, what I was, wondering is, that students, always, face a, dilemma. A lot of students, face a dilemma of, following, their passion versus, high-paying career. So, what's your take on it? Like passion versus money.
Passion versus money. I think great question. To me, it really depends on what you want to achieve at the end of your life. Money to me it is my personal opinion, right? Money to me is just a means to an end. Can you eat money? No, you can't, right? But money can buy you good food, right? So that's the truth. But then, how much good food do you need, right? Before you actually think that it actually satisfies you. What if that good food itself is just like that? It just provides you with that benefit, right? Or what if you could have more? So I think that at the end of the day, it really depends on what is it that you really want. If you think that money is what you should do, then by all means, I would say go for it. But you would soon realize that money is just a means, right? And that's something you would slowly start to realize. So that's just my opinion. I think that people should just try and fail. you should just try and see whether money is what you want, and find out for yourself that money is not all there is in life. Yeah. And of course, like the converse is true as well. Passion is also not all there is in life. Passion, unfortunately, sometimes cannot buy you food. At least money can, you know. So like there's always a balance to it, right? Like there's no either or. But then I would say that if you were to balance it in terms of a percentage scale, let's say like a asset strategy, right? I would say that you should have more passion than money, because money is a secondary effect. When you have passion for it, the money will come.
Maybe like we'd just be interested to know how did the journey of Kinobi initially start? Like, how did the idea of Kinobi come up, and how do you go about it, taking it forward, and so?
Right, that is a great question.
Yeah, because a lot of students tell us, where shall we start? How can we get the idea? So I think this is a very relevant question.
Honestly, I started many ideas before I did Kinobi. I've always wanted to start a company. So during circuit breaker, and even before that, I was in talks with a friend. We are going to start a hotpot business together. I wanted to do a hotpot business that was takeaway, right?
Okay.
And honestly, it took off. Someone did it faster than me. They are making a lot of money now. If you look at Shopee, they have this brown kind of like, it's in Chinese, they call it this like mala takeaway, right? They make a lot of money, right? So that stupid thing in brown box, there's like Indomie, it costs $3, right? But actually ingredients, how much it costs? 10 cents or 15 cents. So the margins are crazy. There's the reason why Indo food and Indomie, the guys are billionaires, right? So even Maggie, right? So that's one thing I wanted to start, but it didn't come to fruition. And another thing I wanted to start was I wanted to start a luxury funeral chain. To me, that made a lot of sense, especially in Indonesia. Because in Indonesia, you have people taking Instagram stories and funerals. You don't see that in any part of the world. Okay. It's a bit strange. You don't see that in Singapore. Nobody goes to a funeral, takes an Insta story, and adds filters, right? You don't see that. Yeah, but you see it in Indonesia. So people place a huge premium on luxury in Indonesia, even on funerals. They want to die in style, right? So like, how can you sell like a coffin that's like $20,000 and people buying for it? So buying it, right? So I want to start this with a few friends. We got it started, actually created a financial model for it. But then, hey, COVID turned out to be worse than I expected. It turned out to be the fact that you can't have like 200 people crowding around looking at your luxury funeral. So it probably won't stand. The product market fit will not be there. Yeah. So different ideas, right? Like so how did Kinobi really start? I would say is because of COVID. Without COVID, we would not be here. I'll tell you why, right? So in Indonesia, for example, it's a culture where people are very formal, and they'll call you like Mr. Benjamin and things like that, right? They call you Pak, they'll call you Kak, and so on. And it's just very formal in that way. And you won't get to sign any deal, you won't get anything started unless you meet the person face to face in Jakarta.
Okay.
Because of COVID, people were comfortable to meet online. And that's how we actually started with our Universitas Indonesia webinar. We had like 250 people who signed up, 150 people who came for the webinar alone. That was insane. It was mad, right? Mad kind of traction. And I think apart from this, that allowed us to scale to, for example, India. So we are also in IIM Bangalore, IIM Ahmedabad, Kolkata, Indian School of Business, MICA, and so on. And this allowed us to scale there. Even I've not set foot in Bangalore myself, actually. I would like to go to Goa. I heard so many good things about Goa and the beaches there, right? I haven't gone there yet. Yeah, so I mean, these are things that because of COVID, we are able to do such things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We have one question from the audience. Sure. Moinak is asking us, the name Kinobi is quite interesting. So how did you come up with it? And what does it mean?
Good question. Yeah. So I like Star Wars. I am not like the greatest Star Wars geek out there. Probably fans that are greater geeky fans more than me. But then I like Anakin Skywalker. I think he's a very interesting dualistic character. I feel like I'm a bit like him. You have like the dark side and the light side, right? Kind of thing. And he has a mentor called Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. So interesting about Obi-Wan Kenobi, you can read about him, is that there are a lot of papers, academic papers written about his relationship with Anakin Skywalker. And these are legitimate mentoring papers, right? Academic papers written on mentoring. There's like completely 20, 30 plus on there online. You can read on Wiley and so on, right? Or like JSTOR. But what is important about that is that we can't use Kenobi, because if we did, Star Wars would sue us. Star Wars actually tried to sue or a kindergarten that printed out Obi-Wan Kenobi stickers, right? And I mean, this is not even their product. Our product is called Kenobi, right? We'll get sued completely. So, so we decided to change it to Kinobi because the I and the KIN there means kin, which is family.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it actually means. And I mean, there are a lot of meanings to it, right? So my name is Benjamin. Obi-Wan Kenobi, they call him Ben Kenobi as well. So there are a lot of like hidden meanings and dualities to it as well.
So based on the person's interpretation.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Very interesting. And guys, if you have any question, you can post it in the messaging box. So Benjamin, you have been working, I guess, with a lot of students, and we are a team of students here. So any advice for us? Any insight you want to share with us? Any of your past experience?
Well, what do you like to hear? Coming from you guys.
Maybe about your school days, and basically the transition, from school into adult life, because we are students, and we're excited for the adult life. So how so your transition to that?
Right. Okay. I'll say that transition to adult life. There are a lot of adulting things that I got to do when I was married. But then, honestly, if you ask me, when transiting from a student to adult life, when you just start working, it's around the same. Yeah, in my opinion. Yeah, because at the end of the day, like if you are staying with like a group of friends at the same house, it's like college back again, right? Except that now you get money, right? You're not a poor student anymore. You start to earn some money to pay off your debt, right? So that's how I would describe it. I would say that like it's nothing much different. I still like to think I'm very young. Yeah, I'm not that old. Yeah, so I still think that I like to hang out with my friends and things like that. Even in this day and age, it feels like college sometimes. I think that's the best part of a startup, right? You work around young people, you do cool stuff till late at night. You work around different things. Yeah.
I think one difference can be that in school we can skip lectures, but not in work life.
We but I would say that like if you really enjoy what you do, you wouldn't want to skip the lecture, right?
That's true as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are waiting for more questions. Any more questions? Any one of you have? If not, let me ask another question. Till that you guys can think. So one. So I was very curious about Kinobi, and what's your plan? Plans like future plans with Kinobi. So what's your future plans? With Kinobi.
At the end of the day, we want to be the cradle and grave to really be the digital kind of like advisor to every student that wants to enter the workforce, and even after that, right? So let's say you start your career at 20 years of age, you retire at 60. At 40 years, we want to be with you, walk every step of the way with you from cradle to grave, and not just help you place you into various jobs, but also walk with you, show you that hey, you have in this job, your time to move on, time to move to another better role. Right? This is what we have for you, or like pushing you, right? Telling you that hey, like this is a role that I think is good for your personality. You just don't have maybe certain kind of skill sets yet, but let's work on that right now. And I think in a year's time, you'll be ready for that. Yeah, so these are things that we want to actually work on with the person and work with the person. That to us is interesting, and that's how we see Kinobi moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting. Because a lot of people, a lot of asked like my classmates, they are very confused, about the future, about their skill sets. So I think Kinobi can be a great tool that students could have access to, to find more about their careers, about improving their skill sets. We have one more question from the audience.
Sure.
So he's asking, are you guys hiring? How do we apply for a job in Kinobi?
Oh, yeah, we're hiring. We're hiring someone in India actually.
Or is it?
In the sales team in India. Yeah, so you can always write to Hafiz at kinobi.asia, and
Okay.
yeah, let me type this inside.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, you can write it, send your resume to Hafiz at kinobi.asia. He's our COO. He handles the recruitment. So that's something which you can actually look at. Um, yeah, and I mean, if you want to just connect with us at Kinobi here, we have a free membership plan. Yeah, I'm just going to send it here. You just like key in your username, password, email address, and then something to confirm, and you get to be in our email list. You get to follow us on a journey. You get to watch our stuff for free. So pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. We have one more question. Harsh is asking, what do you envision the future of Kinobi? But I think
It's kind of
Benjamin,
answered.
yeah, it's kind of a repeating answer. But definitely, we'll ask our people on the call to sign up on the link, explore the platform, and I believe that's great synergy between what Kinobi is doing and what we at Blossoms are trying to do. So I think I see great synergies there.
Yeah.
We have one question. Maybe we can take this one last question. What do you do
Sure.
for personal development?
Personal development. I would say that what I do is that I like to read books. If I like to read, and I would say that you just skim through the books. If you like the books, just read them more. If you don't like the books, just read and then not read them again. Yeah. But then just I would say that always just keep reading different kind of books out
Reading
there.
books.
Yeah, top 3 books. The first book I would say is The Prince by Machiavelli. That taught me a lot about politics and how to navigate politics, how to not be a dick to people. It teaches you how to be a dick and how to be how to be scheming and evil, right? Essentially. But I think what's more important is for that book is that it teaches you how to spot this evil and cunning people and how to guard yourselves against them and ward them off and not be like them. I think that's very important. Second book, I think it's very important to me, and I'm a Christian, so yeah, it's the Bible.
The Bible.
So yeah, I think that has been given me a lot of insight into things, like the book of Proverbs. That gives you a lot of various kind of insights about life. Some things which are very true is not about Christianity anymore, but it's just very good life lessons that you can have. Right. Third book that I'll have is this book called Range that I recently read. That I think is going to be my top books. It's on about how do you be a generalist, right, rather than a specialist. The rise of generalists in this age. Yeah, and you'll find out that you guys are all generalists in some ways. To the point they are specialists, right? You are like machine learning marketing, right? You are doing engineering and business at the same time, right? So all these culminate together and to actually say that, hey, you're actually really being a very specialist generalist.
Specialist and
you're so generalist that you actually become a specialist. So that's what Range actually says. You are so general, you are doing so many things that you become a specialist because nobody can say that they are marketing and machine learning at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think that's the top 3 books that I have.
Yeah. I think it was very great talking to you, Benjamin. Thanks for sharing great insights about Kinobi, about to our student community. We'll make sure that we are able to reach as many students as possible and
Awesome.
help them spread the entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Your LinkedIn here as well. Just share my LinkedIn.
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah, do feel free to join us at Kinobi. We add in a lot of interesting things along the way.
Yeah.
We have these kind of webinars as well. But the webinars is with very varied people, like not even entrepreneurs. They're like people who run luxury furniture brands, things like that. Yeah, it's very out of this world. It has nothing to do with accounting or finance. Yeah.
I think we should talk more, explore more about how can we partner together. Well,
Sure.
We'll talk. Yeah, we'll keep in touch. Thank you so much, Benjamin.
Thank you.
Let's keep in touch.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.